the aspect coming from Venus in conjunction with Rahu, which is going to amplify things from your wealth creation perspectives, saving perspective. Overall, positivity will come because of this aspect of Venus. Your work is going to provide you some sudden opportunity of gains. Some unexpected change is going to creep in. You could become much more mature, strategic in terms of your investment strategies, in terms of how you would want to save for a rainy day. Hi guys, welcome back to Devastrology. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the transitory movement of the planets, and we will understand that what does the month of February hold for us in terms of our relationships, finances, career, business prospects, your overall health and prosperity. So before we go to understand that what is going to be the impact of these planets, let's try and quickly look into the important dates which are going to define the movement of these planets into different signs and houses for you. Now, as you guys can see on the screen here, Sun is going to be in the sign of Capricorn until 10th of Feb, and from 11th, 12th of February, it will be moving into the sign of Aquarius. It will be in conjunction with Mercury, which is also sticking in this of Capricorn as of now and will be moving into Aquarius on Jan 11th. However, Mercury will be making additional movement and it will be getting conjunct with Rahu and Venus in the sign of Pisces from 27th of February. Important thing to note is that Venus is already in its sign of exaltation and it has been in the sign of Pisces since Jan 27th. And it is going to be there for a duration of 110 days in this conjunction. It have very key impacts for all of us. Important thing to understand also is that this Venus is actually forming a Parivartan Yoga, an exchange with itself with Jupiter, because Venus sits in Pisces whilst Jupiter is placed in the sign of Taurus. Yes, it has been in retrograde motion, but Jupiter is going to become direct from February 4th. And in this progressive movement, you are going to see some transformative impact coming into your life. Movements will start happening in multiple areas of your life as we discuss further. Now, Mars is also sitting in its retrograde motion and it has entered the sign of Gemini already, as I'd mentioned in my January readings. And you will find that Mars will also become direct or progressive from February 24th onwards. So, both of your retrograde planets, which is Jupiter and Mars, they will become direct and progressive in the month of February itself. So, it's an important event that's going to come into play. Saturn continues in the sign of Aquarius in Purv Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which is ruled by Jupiter itself. And you have Rahu, which is in the sign of Pisces at this point in time. It is in conjunction with Venus in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, ruled by Saturn. And Ketu is in the sign of Virgo. It is in Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra, which is again ruled by Sun. So these are some of the important dates that are going to come into play for the month of February. As you guys can see on your screen here, we have Ketu and Rahu sitting in your second and eighth house respectively, where Rahu is going to be conjunct with exalted Venus in your eighth house. Then you have Sun and Mercury, which are going to be transiting currently from your sixth house. They'll move to your seventh, and Mercury further will be moving eighth house itself, forming the three planetary conjunction later in the month of February itself, in the last week. And then you have Saturn sitting in the seventh house with Mars sitting in your 11th in retrograde motion and Jupiter in your 10th house. Now, folks, as you guys have been seeing that this transit of Rahu and Ketu is going to change from the month of May, but currently with Ketu sitting in your second house, yes, savings have been difficult, but the Jupiter, which is in your 10th house, being the Karka of 10th itself, is going to bring in some relief, some benefit out of its aspect, along with the aspect coming from Venus in conjunction with Rahu, which is going to amplify things from your wealth creation perspectives, saving perspective. overall positivity will come because of this aspect of Venus. Yes, we understand that the aspect of Venus is going to be a debilitated one. But you have to understand there's another powerful yoga which is coming into play. Your Venus is in an exchange with Jupiter. The exchange is happening between your 10th and your 8th houses, respectively. And that's a beautiful sign because your work is going to provide you some subtle opportunity of gains. Some unexpected change is going to creep up. Remember, Venus is moving 11 places away from its house ownership. It also owns your third house, and it is 6 places away from that and coming into it. So some sort of medical emergency expenses coming into your health, etc., are also viable, and you must anticipate that coming your way. But at the same time, I do see gains also coming with your own efforts at your workplace and when you least expect it. Now, those gains can reflect in the form of career change. It can reflect in terms of a new job opportunity, new role opportunity, or promotion of some sorts. The publicity and fame is not so promising. However, fame still comes at a smaller level because remember, this Jupiter is also the lord of your fifth house and your eighth house moving into 10th. So there is going to be lots of hard work. There is going to be a lot of effort, but you have to be careful that you are not undertaking any philanthropy sort of work at your work. You're not undertaking projects which do not give you the due credit, because this is the challenge with Venus. You tend to become philanthropic. You tend to start working for others. By the way, we will talk about Mars and how he's going to help you against such kind of situations. But that is first and foremost. I think career based development and growth is seen promising once Jupiter becomes direct from Feb of 4th, and you are going to see some of the rewards coming in your way. It is not just in Feb, but it could happen in March or May as well, April as well, because Rahu and Venus are going to form this strong conjunction in your 8th house for a sizable amount of time, for 110 days, as we are aware of it. Now, the other bit that you would want to notice is that for Lagna Lord Sun, and your second house lord as well as your 11th house lord Mercury are in conjunction in your sixth house. This is guaranteed that if you are a working professional, if you are employed in a job, then your effort, time, energy will be going in terms of identifying gains, identifying positive outcomes for yourself in terms of monetary aspects will be coming in from your job perspective. If you're putting in that effort to overcome the obstacles, fight challenges on a day-to-day basis, you are bound to find success from gains perspective as well as savings perspective. So this is connecting to the dots. See, material and monetary gains at workplace is not just connected to the Sun and Mercury bit, but also Venus and Jupiter bit that I was trying to. In general, Leos, what you will be observing is that at least for the first 10, 12 days, significant amount of energy is going to be spent in terms of following that regimen, that schedule that you've planned for yourself. You must have a timetable in place. Even if you're a student, homemaker, business professional, you will be spending time in the first 10, 12 days to address that rhythm. And that has been the trend since January onwards. So it's not a surprise. You are in that cycle and it is going to deliver that top positive outcome as well. For some of you, I also anticipate that you might have to deal with health related issues at this point in time, and you will have to figure out as to what kind of measures you can take to address your health concerns. It could be in terms of your diet, it could be in terms of some kind of an exercise schedule, or maybe some bit of your savings could get even burnt in addressing through medical expenses. So please be, aware and open about it. You can see what the weather change does. So if you are getting impacted through that weather change, you will have to understand, those small nitty-gritties that come with the seasonal changes could bother you as well, Leos. Now, the other thing that happens is that from 11th, 12th of February onwards, both these planets will get conjunct with your Saturn in your seventh house itself. And this is going to bring in certain challenges with respect to your partnerships. If you are a married person, then definitely with your spouse, or from a business relationship perspective with your external business partners as well, you could see ego tussle, some sort of a discomfort coming in your formal public interactions. There could be misalignment in terms of values, ethics, ideas, but at the same time, the sun is going to be giving an aspect back to itself because it is your Lagna Lord and he will eventually be overpowering the entire ecosystem, if I may. So, what I'm trying to say is that you will face that uncomfortable situation, but you will prevail with your values, you will prevail with what you would want to achieve. The important thing for you to understand would be that you do not create a permanent isolation, a permanent animosity with your partners, and make sure that when you are trying to get things done your way, you are aligning them with their thought processes. So it has to be a welcome change with your partners. The important thing is that Saturn is not just the lord of your seventh house, but also sixth house. So if you are married, you could have seen significant challenges in your marriage in the last couple of years, significant challenges in your business as well. And they are going to mount for a certain period of time as long as these two planets are there. Of course, Mercury will move out from Feb 27th onwards into the 8th, but Sun is going to stay for about a month. So you'll have to see that where the wear and tear is going to be coming. Now, the Saturn is also giving an aspect to your Lagna along with your ninth house and your fourth house. So that lack of mental peace, that delay in terms of things automatically happening has been there. And yes, it's been a debilitated aspect of the Saturn into your ninth house. So probably you've not had the best of the support from your bosses, from your leadership. But do not worry. Lord of your ninth house, which is Mars, has shifted gears and come into the 11th house. So that is going to provide you some respite. He's come out of debilitation as well. So from a work front perspective, all the damage that was coming because of that Saturn's aspect, when your bosses were not feeling aligned, you were not getting the support maybe from your father's perspective. Health could have been a concern for your fathers. I think you will see a lot of recuperation. You will see a lot of bounce back from those angles, and you will realize that whatever was in commotion, there will be levers that will start sorting themselves out. So that's a good sign. This is the start of that change for you, Leos. Now, as we move ahead, we realize that the people who are working in business professions, Mercury being the lord of your second and 11th coming into the seventh house, is forming a very strong Dhan Yoga for you. And that's a positive sign again. Yes, from second, it's a sixth movement, but from 11th, it's a ninth one. So I've definitely seen many of you accomplishing your goals, your objectives that you had in mind. Whatever desires have been driving you, you are going to see positivity from that front as well. Even Leos who are student audience watching this, if you're not a working businessman or a professional and you're still watching this video, there is a lot of positive from that perspective too, because some of you could be expecting a gain in a relationship as well happening for you. You could come in contact with new people, new person whom you would want to engage romantically. I still do not recommend this to be the ideal period for getting married, but at least that level of positivity is there. You will have to wait for the Jupiter shift in terms of putting your plans of marriage in place. And then I think things will be more materially suitable from that aspect. From a competition perspective, that is for sure that you will have to put in additional efforts if you are anticipating a kind of participation, if you're a student audience watching this. But this is an excellent period for you to put your, absolute focus in your education, your studies, whatever subjects you are trying to gain knowledge of, you are going to get a better grasping skill. I think somewhere or the other, you've been putting in hours, but the productivity has been low for you guys. It is going to change now with this shift as well. So that's a positive thing coming into play. I think in the first half, you can focus towards competition, but the second half onwards, what you will realize is that there will be a lot of introspection. You will be doing an analysis that this is where I was going in the right direction and this is where I missed. Similarly, from a kid's perspective as well, if you are planning to have copulate and bring your childbirth to fruition, I think this is now going to be a very good time for you to plan kids as well, plan your actions in that direction. Now, as we move ahead, we see that your eighth house has a very strong presence of Rahu with an exalted Venus. Now, this is a tricky situation if you are getting involved into matters of romance, third party situations, ideally that you shouldn't be pursuing. you would want to be careful about those matters, Leos, because it can bring in some level of defame as well. Remember, it is going into the eighth house. Not everything can be positive here. However, this is also a period that can bring you immense amount of fame if you are working in areas that delves into research, that works into the areas of new findings and stuff. If you are in this field related to occult, if you are in the fields related to, sea ocean based research, mining, geographical research, etc., you are going to find some stupendous success in those areas. People associated in those fields are going to be find very valuable. It's a good time for you to start initiatives in that direction. Not so much in petroleum. It will come as a shift once Jupiter is actually making that transit in that direction. And we will talk about that later as well once we do the Saturn transit videos. Now, your ninth lord as well as your fourth lord has come into retrograde motion in the 11th house itself. This is, in fact, much a relief for you because there was a lot of stuff that was happening. It was not happening in the right way for you. Maybe you were not getting enough support from your bosses, your father's health was not keeping well, or in general, the benediction of your, father or the superiors was not coming into play for you. This Mars is going to become direct progressive in the last part of the month. But before that as well, I think you are going to sense that relief. Mars has actually already shifted on 21st. So you would have already seen that shift come in your emotional sphere as well. This Mars is also going to be giving an aspect to your second house, fifth house, and your sixth house. So some level of frugality is going to definitely creep inside you, which is not a bad thing to happen. You could become much more mature, strategic in terms of your investment strategies, in terms of how you want to save for a rainy day. But at the same time, this Mars is going to give an aspect to your fifth house. So please, be cautious in terms of your aggressive behavior towards your romantic partner or towards your children in general, because that could be disruptive for them. This Mars position is absolutely great when it comes to people who are looking for some kind of competition, overcoming obstacles in the first half, whilst Sun and Mercury are also placed there. So it gives you that strength. And even when they move out, Mars continues to give an aspect of the sixth house. So it's a positive thing that is happening with this Mars here. If you are in a real estate business, again, it's a good period for Leos for you to bounce back in that space, cover all stuff that you've lost. If you notice, Jupiter has is going to be direct in your 10th house. It has been placed for a while. After 119 days, it is going to be becoming direct. And this is going to definitely bring relief from your winter peace perspective, from your job plant savings fund. But more importantly, you have to understand that you cannot be becoming philanthropic in your workplace. You cannot be taking up responsibilities of other folks. People will try and come utilize you. If you're a homemaker, you might get just more of a push from your family to do more. You have to take a stand for yourself and tell your family that they need to help you in certain chores. If you are a working professional, you have to highlight this to your peers that they need to undertake their own responsibilities and not throw too much work at you, because that is one risk I definitely anticipate for you, Leos. I'm pretty sure Mars is going to help you overcome those kind of challenges. But if you don't, then I think we are in a problematic situation. Last but not the least, the presence of Jupiter being the lord of 5,000 to 10 again promises good period for you to prepare for childbirth, prepare for the advance and growth of your kids in general. And that is what is going to be the trigger point for you in the month of February. If you guys have enjoyed watching this reading, then please click a smash on the like button, subscribe to the astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya.